Good evening and happy National Signing Day. It has been an exciting day across the Panhandle and really across college football in general. I know you may say, well, Stephen, I thought National Signing Day was in December. Well, the first Wednesday in February is actually the National Signing Day. Oh, and always kind of historically has been. In 2017, they added what they call an early signing period, and it's in the third week of December. So we did see a lot of, especially if you're a fan of a big Division I school, you've already got to talk about and been excited about some of the early signers. And the reason they added that was because a lot of times, especially at the elite level, you're seeing a lot more kids that, especially if they are looking to get playing time their freshman year, they're early enrolling. And so you're seeing a lot of the class of 2024 already be in college. They're in there, they're getting into spring workouts, and they're getting adjusted, learning the schemes, all those things. And actually, I bleed burnt orange. I'm a Texas Longhorn fan, and so I was watching Coach Sarkisian's press conference earlier today, and I think he mentioned something like 22 of the 27 signees are early enrolled, and so of the 27 that signed in December, 22 of them early enrolled. I might need to refresh that exact number because I'm a nerd, man. I've been following this a lot today. Not as much as I wanted to because I had other things that took some time, but definitely been watching. And it's just been so cool to see so many young men get to live out their dream of playing college football. And tonight I get to chat with one of Bushland's own Easton Fuentes. And I'll get his interview on here in just a moment. But I wanted to first thank you for tuning in and watching these interviews. I've had a couple people say, "Hey, looks like there's maybe a different logo," and so I thought I'd share kind of the heart behind what we're trying to do here, and really just the vision for being able to sit down. Because here's one of the I've been blessed for the last 3 years to get to be part of the Bushland broadcast team and I get to call some amazing games. Actually, I've never called a Bushland football game that Easton Fuentes, our guest tonight, hasn't been part of. And so that's a weird thing for me to think. He and Charlie Pitt, I was thinking about it a little bit ago, and I mean, Easton, I, I've called almost 40 games now, and Easton's been part of all of them. And so so is Charlie. And that there's such a cool thing to that. But in the process of calling games, and we're in the middle of basketball season. We'll do some baseball, softball coming up. Obviously, we'll follow track. We have an amazing track program in Bushland, but I get the privilege to meet some amazing coaches and some amazing student athletes, and even some amazing families of these kids. And it's hard in a broadcast setting to be able to really tell a story or let you get to know them more. And they're incredible when you get to just stand on the sideline and chat with them after a game, or maybe even before a game. Or it's incredible to, as you get to know them and the stories that they have. And the heart behind beginning to do these interviews is that you would get to see some of that, and you would get to know them better and get to celebrate them more, because they really are, these student athletes, they're incredible young men and women, and the balance they have, and just the incredible, you're going to see in a minute that just the when I in talking to Easton, as you're going to get to see the joy that he has for the game of football, the love that he has, but also the determination. You don't get to play Division II football without that, and the work that's put in. And we all get to cheer them on Friday nights, and on in basketball on Tuesday nights and Friday nights, and all those different times that they play. But it's cool to get to know them. And you might ask, why, and so that's why when the name Sideline Sports came with this, is because I get to meet these people on the sidelines. And I thought, what better way? I was talking to my buddy Kel Steed over at Press Pass Sports, and Kel does an amazing job. He what he and JPEG Joe and their team at Press Pass do is absolutely incredible. And but he just talked about the reason he loves to write is because he gets to tell the story. And it's something he never got to do in the news, not because he didn't want to, but because news a lot of times is a 3 or 4 minute segment, right? Well, we don't have long dead periods in broadcasts. And so this is a setting where we get maybe away from the whistles and the game and the lights, and just get to know people on a personal level and to share their stories. And I hope you enjoy them. I hope that as both coaches, we just sat down and talked to Coach Allen in her first year at Bushland, and getting just the joy for her family, not only to be able to join the Falcon family, but the coolness of getting to have her daughter now be part of the program and part of a game that she loves. And tonight, I hope you walk away just knowing Easton better. And you may say, well, why not just make it part of Falcon Media? Well, it's not just going to be Bushland Falcons. We get to meet incredible people all across the sphere of high school sports. And so not all these interviews will be Bushland Falcons, and a lot of them will be, because that's who I have relationships with, and those are the stories I love to tell. But we also meet some incredible people. Like, here's the perfect example. Monday night, I will call the Lady Falcons versus Idalou basketball game in Dimmitt. Tune in. It's at 6:30. But I'll also, thanks to our relationship with NFHS, I'll be on the call for the Vegas Sudan game that kicks off at 8. And Sudan has a sophomore guard. Her name's Haley Toscano. She is 4'11", and she lights up the basketball court. And I can't wait to watch it. Like, to think that at 4'11", not even quite 5 foot, but if you hear Coach Lockhart talk about her, like, she plays like she's 6 foot tall. And I love, those are the kind of things that I love. We've got the privilege of calling different football games along the way. I know Chris and I got, last year was a really cool story of Spearman, and how they lost their quarterback a week before the playoffs started. And so they had to revamp their entire offense. And so they're struggling. They needed a win in we'll call week 11. It's their game number 10. They needed a win in that final week to make the playoffs. They go from what they were doing with the spread with the new quarterback, and went to just a power football offense, kind of a version of the slot T. And they, not only did they get a win in week 10, but then they go to the playoffs and pull a couple upsets. And you talk about a community rallying together, and a team that just, they pulled together and experienced success because they bought into just the vision of what their coach wanted to do. And there's so many cool stories. And I've always thought, man, it'd be really cool to tell those stories. And there really hasn't been an outlet. And so I hope that as you see the Sideline Sports logo, as you watch these, I hope if you like what we're doing, you'll hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, obviously I'll probably create a Facebook page, and we'll do some of those. The technology, this is a platform that I love, that I'm just learning to use. I promise it'll get better and better. But grateful for the opportunity to always do what I do. And I say that a lot, but I'm blessed to get to call the games that I call and follow the student athletes that I follow. But also, I hope that we can take a little deeper dive, and you can get to know them even better, because as amazing as they are as athletes, they're even better people. And that's the cool part of getting to do what we do, is we get to know so many kids on more than just what we see on the court or on the field, but getting to know them. And so let's, before I jump into my interview with Easton, I want to thank my sponsor tonight, White Buffalo. Let's see if I can get them up here. White Buffalo Trading Post, brand new business here in Amarillo, owned and operated by my buddy James High and his partner and business partner. And just, if whether you're looking for Western memorabilia, or they have amazing selection. If you're an outdoors guy, and you hunt, you do any of those things, man, they've got everything you need. They're running a really cool Super Bowl special right now. I encourage you to look them up on Facebook. An opportunity to win a Colt 1911 just by going liking their page and then dropping your Super Bowl prediction. If you can pick the Super Bowl right, man, you're going to walk away with a really cool sidearm. And so check that out. Thankful to White Buffalo Trading Post for supporting what we do. And let me get you welcome, Easton Fuentes, and we'll be back after. I'll tie it up at the end, but let's jump in and let's welcome Easton to the show here. Easton, thanks for taking the time out of your evening to join me. Congratulations, big day. Signed with Colorado Mesa.
Yep, for sure. Thanks for having me on. So it's really nice.
Let me ask you this to start. When I say you signed with Colorado Mesa, what emotion, what feeling does that have?
It felt absolutely amazing because I got the opportunity to play the game I love again, and just to start from ground zero and work my way up the top again, whether that be from special teams or wherever I can play on the field wherever I can benefit the team for Mesa. So,
how long have you kind of been in conversations with Mesa?
I want to say the start of my sophomore year, kind of when Crockett Gilmore, he went over there at Mesa. So it's always been an idea put into play.
Crockett knows how to find some Bushland guys to get to Mesa, doesn't he?
Yes, sir, he does. So and just general panhandle guys in 806. He knows how to get to those small town tough guys. So hidden gems.
Before I hop into some questions, just kind of about the process in Mesa, I heard a rumor you and Luke Flowers going to room together at Mesa.
I don't know yet. I would have to talk to him, but I have talked to Luke the past couple of days, and I asked him like, "You ready to get to work this season, man?" And he's like, "Yes, sir." So I feel like me and him are glad to be teammates. But as far as roommate goes, I don't know. We haven't decided yet. I haven't really talked to him about that. So.
How unique will that be? You know, obviously we've had a healthy rivalry with Canadian. We like those guys, but we like to beat them as well. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
How unique will do you think the college experience is going to be being on the same team with guys like Luke that maybe you have had that rivalry with?
Well, we can just feed off each other, learn things that he did at Canadian. Like obviously both have great programs, but we can always learn one thing better from the other. And it'll just be good to learn from him, see how he is as an athlete, and just get better with him and compete with him for the most importantly. So
yeah, they have a great program up there, and Luke's been a great football player. So talk to me a little bit about some of the factors that kind of influenced your decision that led you to choose Mesa to continue your football career?
A big one was academics, them having my major. I mean, I was leaning towards engineering, but I'm going to use my brother as an example. I saw how hard that was for him to do like calculus 2 with football, and it's just not ideal. I'm just like, man, I don't really want to do that in football because obviously I want to focus more on football, but I ended up choosing a geosciences degree to like get into weather, meteorology and stuff like that. And it'll be good. I can do whatever with that. I can be a geologist, meteorologist, a seismologist, like earthquakes and stuff. End up doing something like right there.
Oh, wow.
So
the scenery didn't play much into it? Because I hear it's beautiful up there.
The scenery did play into it also. It's just a beautiful place. And plus the weather is just like it is here, but there's no wind. So that's the best part.
Oh, you're not
There's
going to
no
know what to
wind over
do
there.
without wind.
Yes, sir.
Are you a guy that likes to ski? Do you like the mountains?
I've never skied before, so I can't answer that. I have a feeling skiing will definitely be in my future, though. So
it'll definitely. There's some great places within a quick drive from Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you've gone through the recruiting process. You've spent years now, even from your sophomore year on, talking to the coaches. What do you expect your role? What do you kind of envision your role with the Mesa football team? And then what are some of your personal goals for, as you enter into this next phase of college football?
One of my most important personal goals is how well I can be coachable in a completely different program, because like Reynolds and them, they just grew up with us. So it's kind of like built in to learn what he wants from us. So it'll be really interesting to see how I can adapt to that, to the new environment up there, and how I can basically be a part of the team. And then as far as my role, I mean, I could see me being a special teams guy as a freshman coming in and just, and it depends on where they want me on offense or defense. And I'll just have to work my way up again from the bottom of the barrel and just do what I can.
Yeah. And speaking of new roles and new coaches, I got to give you a lot of credit because you got a new DC your senior year. You've done
Mhm.
this. You were trained to do a job from seventh grade through your junior year, and then you were asked to do a different role your senior year, and you adapted and took that challenge head on. And maybe it wasn't even an ideal situation for you to play that spot, knowing that what coming out of that junior year, but a lot of credit for just being able to already be adaptable and coachable
Mhm.
and do something different because that was
Yeah.
your senior year is a little different than what you'd experienced the last couple of years, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you definitely had to adapt to new things, and a new coach come in. You have to fit what he wants, and that's going to be the same thing in college. I have to be able to handle that adversity, whether I like it or not, or I'm coming back home. So,
That's a champion mindset right there.
so
So obviously you have a brother, your sister's at WT and does sports broadcasting and things similar to what I get to do, but you have a brother that's played college football. So you've got a leg up and just some knowledge of what it looks like. How do you kind of plan to balance those demands of academics and athletics? And it sounds like you've already thought about that in
hmm
even with your career, your major choice.
yes, sir. Well, I feel like stretching is a really big thing. I've seen how like Ethan's pretty banged up. Like for him going into his senior year of college, it's gonna take everything he's got, because he's been dealing with stuff since high school. He's just all beat up. So thankfully, I'm not in his position to do that. So I'm gonna do that by doing little things like stretching, eating right, just staying hydrated, and just um going to bed on time, stuff like that.
And you say that you're not banged up. You've played over four. I think I was counting. It was almost 40 varsity football games over the last 3 years,
Yes, sir.
and you've been blessed to stay relatively healthy, haven't you?
Oh yeah, for the most part. I mean, little nooks and bruises there. I mean, the worst thing I had this past year was probably turf toe. But even since we have such a great trainer, Ron Halsey, he wrapped it up for me. I was able to play with that in the Shallwater game. So that was probably the worst injury I had. So
That's pretty incredible. As physically demanding as your job is, that what we asked you to do at Bushland, or that the coaches asked you to do, to be able to be that healthy, that's awesome.
mhm.
So, what are you most excited about? What are some things as you think about college and you begin to embark on this next phase of your football career? What are some things you're most excited about?
I'm most excited to see how um um I get into a new role and how I'm able to contribute in that role. Because like you said, I've been through the Bushland program and what they wanted me to do the past 5 or 6 years, and it's going to be really neat to see how a new completely new program puts me into play. And I'm excited to build relationships with um, former teammates and new teammates. So
Speaking of former teammates, and I threw the slide up there of your signing. Man, you look good in that Maverick uniform there, man.
yeah, appreciate that.
How nice was it, speaking of those former teammates, to have somebody like Cash that's already you've played with him, you spent your
Mhm.
sophomore year on a team with him, to be able to obviously he's had a lot of success at Mesa
Yes,
and
sir.
is thriving in football. How nice was it to be able to lean on him to be able to answer some of those questions and maybe take some of the unknowns out of this process?
It was very welcoming. Like it was like he was my insight on what college is really about, and it's really about the work. It's not about what you put on social media. All that. It's all about the work that you put in. Obviously, that reflects on Cash with his academics, you know, and and it was very welcoming, especially when I put on that black jersey right there in the Maverick uniform. It felt good to kind of feel a piece of Bushland, but watch how I change colors into maroon. That transition to college. So I thought that was really cool.
I like it. And, look, thinking about your game, obviously the flyer Mesa put out that you were recruited as a running back. I- What are some areas of maybe your game you're hoping or looking to maybe develop on and improve on as you transition to Colorado Mesa?
Well, I feel like always have you always got to be a student of the game, especially in college. I can't just, bull my way through like I did in high school. Um, because in college, I've seen some of those dudes. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm definitely gonna have to pick it up here, and I'm gonna have to learn how to be a football player, not just a meathead. So
It's different. You go. I mean, because let's be honest, you're a pretty physical presence, and you put a lot of time and work into developing your size. And you're going to get to college, and you're right. Everybody's that size. They've all
oh
done
yeah,
that. That's why you're there. You don't get to Division II football without having put in that work. And so,
no,
I remember when I first got to Navarro and I looked at some of those dudes, and man, your defensive ends were now 225, and you're like,
mhm,
oh, this
yeah.
this is different. And so, um, one final question as we kind of wrap up: how do you see because you've got a brother that's walked through this? So, and I know that this was the desire of your heart. This was your goal, was to play college football. How do
Yes,
you
sir.
see your experience playing college football and the time at Mesa shaping your future both on and off the field?
I feel like with the coaching staff there, my brother didn't have a coaching staff like Mesa because Mesa's already been there. They're starting to be part of the rebuilding process, and thankfully I get to be a part of that. And the guys at Mesa are really great guys. You just gotta do your job, and I feel like I'm fortunate enough to have that where my brother didn't, where he had a coaching staff and people around him already there to help him out. So I feel like I will really thrive from that.
Did having the familiarity of Crockett being there on the staff, did that weigh into the decision at all?
Um, Part of that too. I mean, because like he's not my coach at Colorado Mesa. He's just
Yeah,
well, he is my coach, but he's not like my position coach.
yeah.
So, but he's definitely a good mentor there because I mean he helped me get on varsity football here at Bushland right before my sophomore year. So I feel like he's a great tool for me to learn from, and and just having guys like Cash watching how long, like he's been at Mesa for 2 years now, and it's like, and I see how good the coaching staff is at Mesa, and I see how he feeds off of them, and how he gets better from them, and I mean Cash is obviously doing pretty successful now.
Yeah, he's had 2 great years, and it's cool to see how well Mesa's recruited our area. Got a Tascosa kid, and I know
Mm-hmm.
Luke's going, and I saw Mesa pop up a couple other times on my Twitter today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't get to spend as much time as this national signing day. Being the second national signing, this is kind of the last signing day of the year. I'm a nerd for these kind of things, and I didn't get to spend quite as much time digging through it. But what an exciting time! And
Oh
we're
yeah,
excited for you. It's been an honor and a privilege to call your games the last 3 years.
I know.
Um, it's going to be. I
I'll miss
literally
it.
I've never called a football game that I didn't call Easton and Charlie's name. Y'all have literally been part of it because I've been blessed to do this for the last 3 years, and y'all have been the two consistent. And so, but what's even funnier is getting a call with Chris, because I can't tell you how many times Chris calls you Ethan, because he
Oh
called all your
yeah.
brother's games too. And
Yep.
so we always kind of chuckle because when you do this a little bit, you start getting the second wave of
Oh
the
yeah.
siblings. And so, but excited for you. Any final thoughts as you think about just wrapping up a conversation on Mesa, or maybe even just, obviously a lot of Falcon fans are going to listen to this. Any final thoughts for them?
Um. Well. Uh. Let me think.
I should probably
Yeah, I
prep you for
think
that one.
think the
Sorry
I
about
think
that.
the community. I think everything that everybody's ever done for me at Bushland. Um, Shout out to Coach Reynolds, Coach Love, um, both Coach Loves, and then of course the Coach Mayfield and Coach Holt. those guys, Coach Hand too, Coach Pearson, Coach Malden. Who else am I missing? Did I already say Pearson?
Yeah.
I just said Pearson. I'm trying to think. Coach Block, all those guys, and Coach Clear, who's at Canyon right now. A lot of guys that helped me on my journey, and Coach Thomas. So
Sure miss Coach Clear and Coach Thomas.
yes.
Now, when you say Pearson, you're a track guy too. How,
Mm-hmm.
how much are you looking forward to track season? And are you looking to be on that 4x1?
Yes, sir. I'm ready to be a part of that tradition. So I'm ready to be a part of that journey too
Well,
with
uh,
Pearson.
I have a feeling that 4x1 journey is going to take you through Austin before you say it's all said and done with your high school career. And
Yep.
uh, if we can hold on to that baton, we got some fast dudes to get around that track. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to see you on the track this spring. So
for
Easton,
sure.
thanks for taking time. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
been an honor and a privilege to get to call your games, and we're excited to get to follow you as you head up to Mesa.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Bushland 2024 Bushland Falcon graduate, headed up to Colorado Mesa Division II football signee. What an exciting day for these young men, and so hopefully get to chat a little bit more. I know, especially with Bushland, I mentioned Charlie Pitt's name. His commitment's coming, and so I know that Easton told me earlier whenever we chatted about hopping on this is that he's waiting to do his official signing was today, obviously, where he faxed in the paperwork and got everything committed to Mesa. But he's going to do his celebratory signing with Charlie. They've done so much together. They've played side by side, shoulder to shoulder for the last 3 years. As I mentioned, almost 40 games together, and so they're gonna do their celebratory signing together as well. It's very fitting. It's just a cool part of the story, and so hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, we're gonna do more of these. If you like what the vision is, and click that subscribe button. That way you get notified when we publish these. And stay tuned. We got a lot more to share, but grateful for Easton. Man, what an incredible young man. And be on the lookout for him because he's not done. Though we talk football a lot, we wrapped it up with track. And I'm telling you, this Bushland 4x1, they're the reigning state silver medalists, and they're going to be special again. And so it'll be fun to watch their journey as they work to get back to state. And a lot won't be the only Falcons headed to state, I believe, because we have an incredible track program. And so excited for that. If you don't see me before, you'll see me. I think we'll be in Spearman Friday night. Bushland Falcon boys looking to lock up the number 2 seed in district. Coming off, congratulations to Canadian. They've kind of locked up the 1 seed. And congratulations, speaking of Canadian, to Cameron Cavalier and Luke Flowers, who both signed today. Luke is headed to Mesa with Easton, and Cavalier is headed to Harding University, reigning national champions. And they run, and they go power football. You talk about the right quarterback in the right system, kind of that slot T power football. I'd like to see Cameron at quarterback that because he is lethal with his arm and his legs. And so Harding, I know I said it on Twitter earlier, but Harding and Mesa both got better today with the recruits they have coming. And so thanks for tuning in. Happy National Signing Day. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.